You know that feeling. Someone new enters your life, charming, attentive, almost too good to be true. And you immediately feel that pull, that finally, someone understands me sensation. But a few weeks later, you find yourself sitting there again, wondering how you ended up in the same place, disappointed, empty, confused. The problem isn't that you're unlucky in love. Your nervous system is simply seeking what feels familiar, not what's actually good for you. It confuses safety with familiarity, and that's why you keep falling into the same patterns. In the next few minutes, you'll understand why you unconsciously attract people who touch your old wounds, and how you can finally break that cycle. You don't attract the wrong people because you're too nice, too emotional, or always the rescuer. You attract them because a part of you has learned that love feels exactly like this: a little painful, a little uncertain, a little like home. Our nervous system is like an old compass, aligned not with where we want to go, but with the wounds that never healed. It doesn't point north, it points toward what feels familiar. And that's exactly why you feel drawn to people who continue your old stories instead of helping you end them. Only when you realize that attraction isn't coincidence, but memory, can you begin to choose differently. Not from your pain, but from your awareness. It always starts the same way. You meet someone, you feel alive, seen, understood. Everything inside you says, this time it's different. But eventually, something shifts. The lightness turns into uncertainty. Closeness becomes effort. You sense distance, start to doubt, and before you know it, you're fighting for something that was never truly secure to begin with. You give more, you adjust, you hope the other person will stay, and little by little, you lose yourself in the process. What you think is love is often your nervous system's reaction to an old pattern. If you learned early on that closeness always came with conditions, then your body confuses tension with passion and restlessness with attraction. It's as if your nervous system recognizes old wounds and says, I know this. This feels like home. But that home isn't comfort. It's repetition. It's like listening to the same song over and over, just with different voices. The melody stays the same, even when the faces change. The rhythm is familiar, but it keeps you trapped. Next time someone immediately fascinates you, pause for a moment. Before you fall for them, quietly ask yourself, does this feel familiar or does it feel safe? That brief moment of awareness can be the start of something new, the difference between repetition and healing. Because to break the pattern, you must understand what's happening in your body long before your mind notices it. Your body remembers every experience your mind has long forgotten. It carries the language of touch, of glances, of unspoken tension. If, as a child, you felt that love meant adapting or staying quiet, your body stored that pattern as truth. It learned. Closeness is never completely safe. And so, even today, it still searches for that feeling, not because it's pleasant, but because it's familiar. The nervous system loves repetition. It chooses what it knows, even when it hurts. Every time you meet someone who challenges you emotionally, an ancient program activates. If I just try hard enough, I'll finally be loved. But this belief isn't the expression of your longing. It's a survival mechanism. Your body confuses stress with meaning, adrenaline with love, and that keeps pulling you back into the same story again and again. Imagine your body as a compass whose needle doesn't point north, but toward memory. As long as you don't consciously decide to recalibrate it, it will keep pointing in the same direction, toward what once hurt you, but feels familiar. The first step toward change is not fighting your patterns, but listening to them. The next time you feel your heart racing, your stomach tightening, even when nothing threatening is happening, pause, breathe, and gently tell yourself, I am safe, even when it's quiet. Because healing doesn't begin when you find someone new. It begins when your body understands that calm doesn't mean danger. We call it chemistry. That spark that instantly appears when we meet someone who fascinates us. But what we call magic is often just the recognition of pain. Your body doesn't sense the future. It senses memory. It remembers that same mix of closeness and uncertainty you once felt before. And it's exactly that mix that draws you in because it makes you believe that this time things will finally turn out right if you just love hard enough. Intensity is not the same as connection. Intensity is fire. It burns fast, bright, and it burns you too. Real connection often feels uneventful, calm, safe, steady. But if you're used to drama, peace will feel boring at first. That's why so many people confuse safety with boredom and chaos with love. Your body seeks what it knows, but you can teach it to experience new things as safe. It begins when you learn to sit in stillness without rushing to fill it. When you meet someone who doesn't make you anxious, but makes you feel calm, stay. Not because your heart is racing, but because it's finally at rest. In truth, that's not a lack of passion. It's the beginning of healing. Healing doesn't begin with a new person. It begins in the moment you pause, just before you fall back into old patterns. It's that tiny space between reaction and awareness where you have the power to change direction. When someone instantly captivates you, don't ask yourself, what's so special about them? Ask, what does this remind me of? The body speaks quietly, but honestly. It tightens when it senses danger and relaxes when it feels safe. But after years of inner stress, you've learned to ignore those signals. That's why your most important step isn't saying no to someone else, but saying yes to your own awareness. Each time you notice yourself shrinking just to be liked, pause for a moment, take a deep breath, and straighten up inside. Tell yourself, I don't need to prove anything to be loved. It sounds simple, but it changes everything. Because every conscious no to what hurts you is a quiet yes to yourself. And with every one of those moments, your nervous system learns that love doesn't have to feel like fear. Sometimes it doesn't take big steps, just 2 conscious minutes a day to reprogram your system. The first minute belongs to awareness. When you notice yourself longing for someone who isn't good for you, pause. Place one hand over your heart and feel what's truly there, not the person, but the feeling underneath. Fear, loneliness, need. Quietly, name it. That alone breaks the automatic cycle, because what you can name loses its power over you. The second minute belongs to returning. Take a deep breath in, then exhale slowly. Feel the ground beneath your feet. Tell yourself, I'm here, I'm safe. I don't need to chase anyone to be loved. If you practice this daily, something invisible begins to change. Your body starts associating calm with safety, not with loss. And suddenly, you're no longer drawn to false intensity, but to genuine presence. You become the safe place you've been searching for in others all along. In the end, it's not about finding someone who finally completes you. It's about understanding yourself so deeply that you never again try to find healing in someone else. When you start choosing yourself every day in small moments, your body will feel it. It will stop scanning for danger and start responding to peace. Love that lasts doesn't feel like fireworks. It's quiet, clear, calm, like a space where you can simply breathe without losing yourself. Maybe that's the true art, not searching for someone who heals you, but becoming someone who never leaves you again. If these thoughts resonate with you, write in the comments, I choose myself. And if you want to dive deeper into why healing always begins in the body, stay tuned. The next video will be all about that. Subscribe to Mastering Life so you'll never overlook yourself again.